Hey everyone, it's NHL Hawk News Sports. We're back in another video. We have another news video coming out today. Just some news of the day. Some things have happened. A couple trades. We'll talk about some news for sure. So, and some updates about things. So, first off, start off with the Oilers. Slater Cuckoo is on waivers. Of course, he's more of a seventh defenseman. A guy like that. Of course, drafted by Tampa Bay. Pretty early, I think, what was it, 2014 or 2012? I cannot remember. I think it was 2012. Like 10th or something? I forgot. It was like 10th or 12th. I know it was in the top 15. But he didn't really pan out to be as much as they thought he would be. Of course, he, got traded to the Hawks and then, signed with the Oilers and all that stuff. So now he's on waivers. Slater Cuckoo hasn't done much this year, he's not, doesn't really help out the Oilers in an impactful way for them because, of course, he's only a seventh defenseman, so that's not going to help him as much, right? So, he is 27, and actually 2012, 10th, I was right. So, this year with the Oilers, he has 4 points in 19 games, all assists there, and it's +2. Never became the guy that, like I said, maybe the Lightning envisioned him at 10th overall, but it's okay. He's on waivers. We'll see if anyone picks him up. I don't think anyone would, but I said maybe the Red Wings, Stevie Y drafted him, so maybe he would pick him up. I don't know. Except that, maybe the Senators, but except that, I doubt anyone would pick him up. So, let's move on from Slater Cuckoo to two minor trades here on the Lightning. Little wheeling and dealing there with minor trades. Just minor trades here. Starting off at the Dallas and the Lightning one. Lipinoff is going to the Dallas Stars for Phil Hebel. Whatever you say his name. I never knew how to say his name. But both this year have not had a good season in the AHL. Both have played in the ECHL. And both have not done good in both of those leagues, AHL and ECHL. So, fresh start for them. Phil Habel there, whatever you say his name, he actually is a little bit better this season than Lipinoff. Lipinoff had like no points, maybe 1 assist in the AHL. In the ECHL, he had like 1 or 2 assists. So, this year in the Orlando Solar Bears and even in the Syracuse Crutch. So, looking at that, he needs a fresh start. He's 22, picked in 2017 draft. So, he is still young, but can they turn it around for him somehow? I don't know. So, we'll see how that goes for them. The Lightning traded him because they obviously were going to just let him go in the offseason. So, see what happens, right? Terminate his contract, but they never did. They traded him instead. Looking at the other one, which is a little bit, I think, better players, I have to say, Anthony Richard is going to the Lightning from the Predators, and Jimmy Huntington is going from the Lightning to the Predators. This year they have about 15 points in 30 games roughly for both of them, so they're about even here. Both of these trades are even, of course, but I like Richard, what he has brought, in the AHL. He looked like a guy that could be promising. Saw in AHL this year has been okay, but I'm kind of intrigued about the whole thing with Richard going to the to the Lightning. So I'd like to see how that turns out, if they give him some games or not. We'll see what happens, of course, right? So, 2 trades, I'm not going to really say who wins the trade, because it's just too minor to figure out. Maybe one day we'll figure out. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just be, one of those blah trades. That's to start out like, right? So moving on to some NHL news, actually Olympic news, that Eric Staal is going to be the captain of the Olympic team for Canada. So good for him. Of course, he signed the PTO contract with the Iowa Wild in the AHL. They get some time. He played a game or 2, something like that, in Iowa for the AHL. Of course, practiced all that stuff. Then Olympic time is coming, so getting ready for that. Now he's going to the Olympics. He'll be the Canadian captain. Good for him. Of course, we know that Claude Julien fell on the ice, broke a couple of ribs there, so Jeremy Colleton's going to be the Canadian coach for the Olympics. So yeah, that changes a little. I feel bad for Claude Julien, But gives Jim Colleton a chance after being fired by the Hawks right early in the season. Going to some assistant captains here. David Dearnay is going to be assistant captain. Good for him. The last 3-4 years he has been in Europe playing. Used to play for the Montreal Canadiens, beloved Montreal Canadian. People loved him in Montreal, French-speaking guy. And then he was traded at the deadline 16-17 season to the Oilers. Played really well in the deadline. After that, with the Oilers, Mirko run right there, really good. But I always like David Dearnay. Smaller guy, but could find. He has a nose for the net too. So, and he's a settlement. You have Eric Staal, Dearnay, really good to have. And then another alternate captain you have is Noru. He's a guy who is 34 on defense. I looked at his numbers. Really didn't know who he was, but I looked it up. He was undrafted, played for Minnesota for 2 years, about 5 games for each of the 2 years. Nothing really much, and never played back in the NHL again. Played up in Europe, played in Europe, so, never came back to the NHL. He's 34, has a chance to play in the Olympics, and now he's an alternate captain. So good for him, for Staal being the captain, Dearnay being the assistant, and so is Noru. So good for them. I'll see how that turns out and see how they play, I like to see how Eric Staal plays, and the 3 of them, or anyone on that team, for sure. Now moving on to some Blue Jackets news. Not the best Blue Jackets news coming out here from Columbus, that Jake Bean is out 4 weeks with a groin injury. Now, of course, the Blue Jackets are trying to make the playoffs, trying to take a wild card spot, because obviously the Eastern Conference is a lot tougher than the Western Conference. Not saying the Western Conference is really easy, but it's easier to get into a wild card spot, something like that, in the Western than the Eastern. Looking at where the Columbus Blue Jackets are right now, not the best news knowing where they are. 41 points. Second wild card spot right now is the Bruins with 53 points. They're about the same amount of games played, 42 by the Bruins, 43 by the Blue Jackets. So, if they had any chance, this isn't going to help them out losing Jake Bean. It could make it worse, but it's not going to make it better, right? Losing Jake Bean for 4 weeks. We'll see how that turns out. Hopefully, he has a speedy recovery for him. So hope the best to Jake Bean in his recovery. Now, some news out here, a couple of days ago, but I'm going to kind of talk about it now. For the Montreal Canadiens, this is a price update, and Petry wants out, okay? Starting with Carey Price, he wants to get back to play for Montreal. He wants to put the C on, that crest on his shirt again. He wants to, on his chest again. He wants to play. He really does. But, the knee has been setting him back. He gets back on the ice, and he's like, I gotta restart things again. And then he gets back, and he's gotta restart things back to the beginning. So now he's back on the ice. He hasn't restarted things again. Hopefully he doesn't have to. He's hoping to be back this season sometime. But we'll see how that turns out, if that's realistic or not. This time, trying to be on the ice, just the full gear on, skating around, really being careful with that knee. We'll see how things go. But, hopefully the best for him. And, hopefully he can get back to a career. The worst is it'll be career-ending injury, which we're hoping not. But he's hoping for the best. He's positive about this. So we'll see what happens. Of course, he had an interview talking about that. So hope for the best. Hopefully he can get it back. He's my favorite player. So, always my favorite player. So there you go. Hopefully Price can come back soon. People say shut him down. But, if he wants to play, come back. He's an athlete. He wants to play. He lives on the ice. That's him. So, we'll see how things go, for sure. And then Petry wants out. Things haven't been working out. His family now in the U.S., doesn't like the whole border thing. And, he's had a terrible season with Montreal. Petry has not been good. Of course, he's been a guy who gets about 40, 50 points. Roughly, I should say, more like 40 points a season for Montreal ever since he came to the Habs from the Oilers. But, Petry just signed that $6.25 million contract for 4 years. He has a no-trade clause, 15 teams on that no-trade list, so, he wants to be traded, but he's kind of like, I wouldn't mind, but, Hughes said, okay, we'll try to find a fit for you. He did say, well, we have actually the points, 37 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points, -7. Not good. Not good. We need more from him, of course. He's trying, so many injuries with him and just how things have gone with COVID too, and just everything with his injuries, just not being with his family, things he hasn't been engaged at all here. So we'll see what happens. He's a right shot guy, can play on the power play. At times he does give up the puck, brutal giveaways at times, but then he bounces back. Just hasn't gone good. Yeah, it just hasn't done good with Ducharme. I know. When Ducharme took over, he played fine. But, during the playoffs, but how things have gone this year, and knowing that, like Ducharme, just everything goes wrong, right? So we'll see what happens, but, Petry wants out. We'll see what teams are interested in him. If it's that deadline or it's the off season with teams have more cap available to work things around, because I don't know if you want to retain salary with 6.25. He has 3 more years after this year, so I don't know if you want to do that really. Unless you're in a rebuild, you could, but are you going through a rebuild? You have a solid prospect pool already, so retool, rebuild, we'll see what happens. Alright, going on to the last part of our news of the video, that Ryan Pollock has been activated from their long-term injured reserve, which is so good for them. Pollock's been out for a while now, adding him back, trying to stay in this playoff hunt. They are the team that, out of all the teams in the Eastern Conference that are not in a playoff spot, looking from the outside, trying to look in there, they're a team that maybe is the most hopeful to make the playoffs. If any of them, right now it's like, it's pretty set in stone. But if any team, the Islanders, right, because they have so many games they have to make up, and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. But Pollock, getting him back now is definitely good. They're a little below 500, of course, but it's okay. We'll see how they do. They should have won against the Wild. That was a game that was all those, and the Wild found a way to win that game. So, we'll see what happens, but Ryan Pollock is definitely a massive add to that blue line, to that team. The thing that has to work out is the Ilya Sorokin, Varlamov thing. Hasn't been the best lately. They gotta fix that. Mitch Cohen can work on that with the Barry Trotz system. So see how things go, but definitely it's a massive add here. It's like trading for a top 4 defenseman for the Islanders to bring him back. Ryan Pollock is so nice to have him back on the lineup. So they are playing the Senators. Hopefully they can play tonight. Beat the Senators to get back to 500. They get a chance to contend with Boston for that last wild card spot. But right now, the Islanders are in 37 games, 15, 16, 6, with 36 points this season. They have a 486 points percentage there. So, we'll see how things go. Hopefully the best for them, like I said. And thanks for watching NHL News Sports. I will see you next video. Bye.